What's good, man? It's your boy Mike back with another video. If you guys are new, the name is Entre Mike, however you want to say it. Well, the intro is short for entrepreneur. So this is probably my most requested video since I've started Hotshot. Not only how much it takes to start, is it easy, which one I would prefer, which one I like, which one I love, but also, like I said, it's the most requested video I've had in a very long time. I thought it would be better to just make a video and squash it. So it's really no debate. It's all going to be preference at the end of the day. But I made this PowerPoint because there's a lot to dive into. There are a lot of differences as far as startup costs and everything. But before this video starts, I'm just asking you to like, subscribe, and share this with your future business partner or your spouse if you're looking to get into this game. I really believe that this can help you figure out which one you should do. So first, we're going to get into the pros for box trucks. And I'm just going to read them off the screen because I took a long time to do it, but you guys can read them with me. So it's very easy to enter, low requirements, non-CDL. If you guys don't know the GVWR rule with 26,000, I suggest you do some more research. I'm not going to sit here and break down every metric you need to meet the non-CDL requirements, but I will tell you that you don't need a CDL to operate box trucks with GVWR 26,000 or less. The truck is very easy to drive and loads are very, very easy to secure. Very basic. You don't need any prior knowledge of the trucking industry to know. As long as you're pretty good with tools, you'll have common sense in how to secure a box truck load. I also got a couple of pictures. This load right here didn't even really have to be secured. When it's filled up to the back to the brim, it ain't really much you can do. Maybe a load bar in between. But basic equipment as far as load bars, straps, and pallet jack, as you guys can see right here. And very cheap equipment, by the way. That's another pro. It's easy to get a rental and start with low risk, and also, a risk as far as covering you on maintenance. And if something goes wrong with your truck, God forbid, you could get another truck if it doesn't work out. Now we are experiencing a truck shortage at the moment, but that's basically with any equipment. Hell, it's hard to get new cars as it is. So, a lot of people are getting into this game, but honestly, just that, overlook at it is still pretty easy to get in with the consequences that we'll talk about in the next slide. The loads are plentiful where the equipment is needed. Now, most of your best loads for your box truck are going to be in the Midwest, in my opinion, and probably every trucker who's actually been over the road opinion. There are a lot of hot spots in the Southeast, but mainly you don't want your truck running anywhere but the Midwestern region if you want your rate per mile to be over a certain amount, in my opinion. I got to keep saying that because a lot of people are on me in the what I'm putting out there, but honestly, it's the truth. You have to have your truck. You have to have your equipment in the right place for it to make the right amount of money, if that makes sense. Most loads are one pick, one drop, and the rates are consistent. Now, if they're consistently ass, that's one thing. Like, they're gonna fluctuate, if that makes sense. But they're consistent. Like I said, they're pretty consistent. You're not gonna be in Colorado and getting $2 a mile. They're gonna consistently pay $1 a mile to get up out of there, but they might pay $3 a mile to get up in there. That's just how it works. That's the industry, point blank period. But like I said, the biggest key for pro right here is that it's one pick, one drop, at least for that line. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of local work for Amazon Relay. And they got work, for power onlys. They got work for dry vans and also 26 feet box truck. That's what you'll know as far as with Hotshot. It's not really a gig like Amazon Relay where all else fails. You can at least make $1.50 to keep your truck moving at all times and come home every night. So that is something pretty cool. And for all of my older subscribers, about 70% of my channel go within the range of 30 to 45. Nothing wrong with that. That's just where most of my audience comes from. A lot of you guys are already having a couple of kids. got a lot of bills to pay, and don't really want to be away from home too much. And I think Amazon Relay fills in that gap very well. So now we're going to get into the cons for box trucks. The brokers are just brutal in this lane. That's my personal experience. Point blank period, man. You got a lot of shady brokers that work with LTL Freight. You got HLH Logistics. You got Total Quality Logistics. If you guys look at my top 3 brokers, I put TQL as one of the best brokers, actually number 1. But that's just because they're the most consistent. Whether you consistently getting $1.50 to $1.80, that's none of my business. But the fact that they have loads that are plentiful and you can work with a new authority, you could start your business tomorrow and get freight with them. That's why they were number 1. Not because of necessarily the best loads on the load board. You know what I mean? Not as far as consistent with good service. It's just different things that I feel like you're going to go through that you wouldn't go through with any other type of equipment with a box truck. But that's just my opinion and what I experienced. The rental rates and prices of trucks have increased significantly with the shortage of supply. So I was talking about that about 2 minutes ago. You're going to have a hard time finding a box truck for a reasonable price nowadays. But if you just be patient and let all the hype calm down, because it's been a lot of hype with box trucks, you'll hopefully be able to find something with a decent rental rate. And if you're asking me what's a decent rental rate, from what I've heard, people paying anything under $700 a week, and 15 cents a mile maybe can be decent for you guys to be somewhat profitable with one person in the truck. But some of these rental rates are just good. They're absolutely ridiculous. But like I said, a lot of people are just hungry to get in, so you got to pay to play to get into this game. Speaking of paying, most don't have a sleeper, so you'll be spending a lot of money in hotels. Don't worry though, Hotshot people do too. At least the ones who don't make a bed in their back seat. I always feel like as a truck driver, at least me coming from a carrier perspective, it's good to get in the damn bed, bro. Just get in the bed, bro. Pay that $100 a night. I think it's worth it. If you want to save money and, if you got a high rental rate, sleep in your truck. It's people out there who do it, but it's tough and it's not for everybody. To make great money, you'll have to be regional or over the road. That's the primary way I feel like you should run it if you get into this game. I don't think anybody's trying to get in this game to gross $8,000 and take home $3,000, $4,000. Now, keep in mind, I came from a job making $300 a week, working part-time at Kroger. So the money I've been making in Hotshot or box truck was good money for me. So I'll probably talk about that at the end of the video, just letting you guys know what your money can look like with each individual equipment, in my opinion, depending on what type of work you're willing to take. And I said, unless you run Amazon, of course, because you'll have local work in Amazon to always go to. Now, you do have to build a performance score, and there are tips and tricks to help you with that. That honestly, I don't have the expertise in. I really have not messed with Amazon when I had my box truck. It just didn't make sense money wise, especially going into business with a partner. Box trucks come in different sizes. This can be a con because a lot of people go out there and buy a 22-foot box truck or 18-foot box truck or even a 24-foot box truck, with 70-inch clearance. And if you're looking into getting in, try to find a 26-foot box truck with at least 96-inch clearance. It's going to save you a lot of trouble. It's going to help you get a lot more loads. If you could have swing doors, it could be perfect, but a lot of 99% of box trucks probably going to come with roll-up doors instead of the swing doors. Swing doors are more so for expedited trucks that I see. That'll be like 20 feet and under with a sleeper, but they'll have the swing door, so that'll be a really good benefit for expedited freight. And you see how I say SOL. You may not be SOL. All the people with a clearance under 96 inches, don't be mad at me. That's just my personal experience from a dispatcher's point of view. Okay, now the pros for Hotshot. My first pro from Hotshot, personally, is that it's more comfortable for long haul. On average, I travel about 400 to 600 miles a day. and in the box truck I did about the same. So it's more comfortable. It's different, fun, and exciting sometimes. Always loading something unique. That's just a personal thing. Like, it's not going to be for everybody. At first it was pretty nerve wracking, but it is pretty cool to see that I do the same work that a flatbed does. Now, when you're in a box truck, you're going to do the same work that a dry van does. Ooh, surprise. But it really built my confidence level in knowing that if I can last in Hotshot for a couple of years, it won't be too hard to transition over into flatbed and the semis with the big boys. But yeah, the brokers are more respectful about your equipment and what it is you have to do. That's my personal experience too. I got a load that I'm finna pick up soon. Once I drop off my first load, I got a load tarped up, ready to go tomorrow. I'm going back to the Midwest for a couple of days, and I got a load paying $725 for 170 miles. And you'll find loads like that with the box trucks too. It's just, but the reasoning that they're paying that well, and it's only a 10-foot partial, is that it's 8 feet high. So with that comes another type of problem that you'll have to run into. I also should have put bridges as a con for box trucks too, because a lot of people go out there and they mess up these box trucks going up into the Northeast or going into Chicago without truck navigation. It's also a better paying load per mile, but you have to do more work. So every load is driver assist. Every load, well, not necessarily driver assist. You don't have to help put on the equipment, but you do have to help. Now, you don't have to help, but you have to secure the equipment, if that makes sense. And sometimes that can be strapping, it could be chaining, it could be strapping and chaining, it could be tarping, which all is going to take a lot of effort, except for strap and go. Strap and go is probably just as easy, if not easier, than backing into a dock for a box truck. And that's another thing that we're going to talk about in the next slide. But you will usually have more space for bigger truck loads and more space to actually partial consistently. Because I see a lot of people in box trucks, especially in the groups, they'll say, oh, the way to make it in box trucks too is the partial. I know it's only 26 feet, but you got to make it work. And to me, it's bull crap. It's so hard to partial in a box truck, you don't even understand. Unless you're taking a truckload that's 5 pallets and putting another truckload on secretly and breaking the seal, it just doesn't make sense money-wise to even try partialing in box trucks. You know what I'm saying? It would be too much stress and just not worth it, in my opinion. Now, there are people who are out there that do it, who've been doing it longer than me, and could tell you otherwise. But when you're new in the game, you kind of just got to take what you can get. Okay. So with the cons for Hotshot, it's way more difficult. It's way more difficult to, oh good Lord. It's way more difficult to maneuver. Wider turns and backing into shippers and receivers are way tougher because you don't really know what they're going to look like sometimes. You kind of just got to have your head on right. They're not going to call you in advance and let you know, hey, for this receiver, you're going to have to back in. Or, hey, when you go to shipping, let me know because you're going to have to back in with some traffic. You know what I'm saying? And there are going to be cars in the way, and you're just going to have to learn how to maneuver. I am going to work on getting better equipment to kind of show how that is. But if you've seen any other Hotshot channels, you see it's not as simple as just driving in and backing into a dock or making a U-turn out. Some of these drop-off locations are going to be in power plants, steel plants, nuclear plants, railroad tracks. You're going to get a little bit of everything in Hotshot. So that's one thing. Another, weather determines if you're going to have a good day or not. It's kind of me being sarcastic, but it's sometimes the truth. You're going to get really hot days. You're going to get really cold days. It's going to be raining some days. Depending on how brave you are, it's going to be snowing some days. Me personally, I'm not driving in the snow. If there's snow on the ground, I can do it. But if it's actually snowing, I'm not doing it. If there's icing, I can't do it. Load securing is way more tedious and dangerous. You got to be mindful that if your load isn't secure enough, it's not just going to break off and hit the side of your wall in the box truck. It's going to break off and it's going to come off and hit the road or hit a car and hurt somebody or kill somebody. So it is more dangerous, and I wish I would have taken that aspect more serious, because if you look back at some of my other loads, I just didn't do the best job securing my first load goddamn awful. I should have chained that load instead of strapping it. Um, I don't know everything, especially when it comes to Hotshot. I don't know everything at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm still learning, but it's a journey. So stay tuned for that too. Startup expenses for equipment are insane. It's not as simple as straps, low bar, and a pallet jack. It's straps, chains, binders, 2-inch straps. You're gonna need 4-inch straps. You're gonna need 4x4, a good toolbox. I haven't gotten an auxiliary fuel tank, but I need to get one. Um, More tires to deal with. You got 10 instead of 6 on a box truck. So there's a lot more expenses. Tarps, I can't forget about tarps. Those are the most expensive. Chains, if I haven't said it already. Everything in Hotshot is super expensive. I don't know if it's because they're low on supply or what, but everything in Hotshot is super expensive. Edge protectors, bungees, ridiculous. So if you are limited on capital and you're just kind of like thinking about which one, like I said, stay close to the end, and I'll give my take on what you guys should do. More time consuming, less drive time. So when I say that, I mean more time consuming in actually securing the load. Although you can pull up in a box truck and wait for 2 to 3 hours to get loaded, it's not as labor intensive as actually having to strap or chain and tarp a load outside in the heat or while it's raining. You get what I'm saying? And it does affect your drive time if you're taking your breaks in your shift, and it eats away. So you don't really have too much time to drive every single day unless you're already loaded. There is no rental game you can enter being brand new. I know there are videos out there showing with Enterprise, but I don't think you can actually work with Enterprise until you hit 2 years. So if you've been in business 2 years, it could be an option, but that's just something to look out for. So yeah. Last but not least, which is better? Now this is a personal appearance. Oh, good line. Which is better? This is a personal opinion from me. These are the things you should take into consideration: your age, your patience, how long you're willing to stay out, and are you willing to travel? Get a basic general knowledge of that. In Hotshot, with no experience of trucking at all or low securement, it can be a big risk and reward type of deal. I wouldn't advise it. If you're brand new, like the first thing you're gonna do is hop in a truck and get into the transportation industry. I really feel like there is way less risk getting into a 26-foot box truck than a 40-foot non-CDL hotshot. Now, mine a 36-foot. A lot of people do 25 plus 5. There's some people who try to make it with a 22 plus 7. I really feel like your trailer should be 30 feet or longer, and that's 30 feet of deck space, because if not, it's going to be really tough. I only have 31 feet myself, but I really haven't had too many loads where I have had to exceed my deck space. So I think if you're going to look to partial into, it should be around 30 feet or more of deck space. And others think more, but that's just my personal opinion from what I've experienced so far. I do it looking to get in my CDL. And like I said, it's a lot of components. Do you have your Class A? You know what I mean? Because Class A, CDL box truck versus CDL hotshot, there's no question. CDL hotshot blows it out the water. But I think these two are more comparable. They're, great weeks in hotshot and great weeks in box trucks. It just all depends on what fits you specifically. How old are you? I don't want to throw gender in there, but I can't see a whole lot of females wanting to get in the hot shot and do the dirty work, but there are very few women who can do it better than me. I mean, I just started, but can strap the hell out of a load, tarp the hell out of a load, do it 10 times faster. But this isn't to stray anybody away from hot shot. It's just being honest. Boss truck is just a very low interest to get into the trucking industry with a lower amount of risk. Lowest amounts. The biggest things you're going to see are being new. A lot of brokers won't work with you for 3 to 6 to 12 months unless you lease on. And I don't think there are that many leasing on companies with box trucks. So a lot of people tend to do Amazon. But like I said, depending on where you are in your area, depending on how many distribution centers you got around you, Amazon might be a great fit for you. Trucking in general is not for everybody. You'll know if it's for you or not just by learning more about it. So after you watch this video, I hope you guys go and look at another video called out for not making enough. I don't make enough money. I'm gonna go broke. Man, I used to make $300 a week. $300 a week, $400 a week. So for me taking a step and getting into Boxtruck or Hotshot, it changed my life. I'm not saying you guys getting a box truck is going to change your life. And I'm also not promoting everybody to go and get a box truck because it's simply not for everybody. Everybody's not going to enjoy it. Everybody's not going to be successful. Does that mean everybody can't be? Not necessarily, but in a way of saying it, everybody's not going to like it. So everybody's not going to want to do it as much. They're going to want to be home more often. They're going to want to see their children, their spouse. It's a tough game. So like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned. It's your boy Entre Mike. Peace.